Bitcoin is going to $100,000 in 2024, and what I'm going to show you in the charts, we're going to spell out the exact path for Bitcoin to take for it to reach that monumental high that a lot of people are expecting, a lot of people are waiting for, but not a lot of people are ready for. And we're going to be basing this off one of my favorite people in crypto, and that's going to be Miles Deutscher. Miles Deutscher is probably putting out the best crypto threads out on X right now, and he just put this out in my 6 years in crypto. This is one of the most bullish setups I've ever seen. In hindsight, it's going to be ridiculously obvious. There are some monumental catalysts on the horizon, and here he has 10 reasons to be stupidly bullish on the next few months in crypto. That's right. I'm going to give you 10 reasons why I think Bitcoin's going to go to 100K this year. Like I said, no one is ready for the explosive moves we're going to have on the horizon. So let's just go get right into the list here. All right. Reason number one is going to be the Germans. We've covered the Germans in the past, but the reason the Germans are bullish now is they have ran out of Bitcoin to sell. The best thing about the overhang is once the selling is priced into the market, there's a floor to the downside and headroom for price to move higher. We still have Mt. Gox, but now there is light at the end of the tunnel. Well, I went into it, and there's actually a kind of a funny story here. They started with 49,000 Bitcoin. This was worth about $3 billion, and they've been selling this for the past 3 weeks, and Bitcoin took quite the tumble. But Bitcoin was able to absorb this $3 billion in selling, and now they're out. A fun little story here, though. Someone did send them a little bit of Bitcoin. They sent them $1.87, and they inscribed it with the phrase here, HFSP. And if you don't know what that means, have fun staying poor, Germany. Ow, a little bit of a little finger poke in the eye to the German government. I went and I tracked their wallet. There's now $431. It looks like someone maybe, people are just sending them more and more inscribed amounts here. You could just see very, very, small amounts, 0.001 Bitcoin. This is almost too small. This is less than $1 right there. So sending small amounts, probably with some cheeky messages. But Germany, don't have fun staying poor. Next time, hodl your Bitcoin. All right, let's go to reason number 2 here, and that's going to be the Bitcoin ETF inflows. Because the ETF inflows are remaining strong. I think many people are underestimating the magnitude of the long-term impacts of the ETFs on Bitcoin. It provides strong passive bid on the market, and appetite for the ETF isn't going away. Well, diving into the charts, it isn't going away. We had a couple red days early in the month, right before a holiday day. Nothing to be too alarmed then. Typically, markets, correct or come down a little bit on holiday weekends. And 4th of July, pretty big holiday right there. But look at the uptick. Yesterday was a record day for the month. Pulled in $420 million and $300 million the previous 2 days. So ETF inflows coming back, and they're coming back in a strong way. Let's go ahead and look at reason number 3. Reason number 3, U.S. presidential election. Polymarket now has Trump at a 70% chance of winning the election. No doubt that a Trump presidency is a positive catalyst for crypto, given that his administration is supportive of the industry. And look who just nominated for VP, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is a Bitcoiner. So Trump, very, very bullish. I went to Polymarkets, and it's down 1%, but we still have a 69% chance of winning. I don't know what's going on with these numbers, 420, 69. What's happening? All right, reason number 4, Trump is speaking at the 2024 Bitcoin conference. He says, let that sink in, everybody. The likely next U.S. president is advocating for Bitcoin at crypto's biggest conference. Over the past month, he has spoken glowingly regarding Bitcoin and crypto, and this further strengthens the case. I would say the most positive impact this is going to have is if he really gets the Bitcoin bros on his side, there's going to be massive inflows for his presidential election campaign funds where, hey, you're going to have all this Bitcoin coming out of the old woodwork, old dormant wallets going to be waking up. They might be donating to his cause, giving him a really, really good war chest. All right, let's go to reason number 5. FTX repaying $16 billion of creditors. There's been a lot of talk about the Germans, Mt. Gox overhang. We're talking about, $3 billion, both of those selling events around 50,000 Bitcoin each. But that's little. That is beans. That is nothing compared to the $16 billion coming from FTX. $12 billion of that is going to be in cash. Now, let this sink in. A lot of people, they invested money with FTX. They thought they're buying Bitcoin. They thought they were safe. Next thing you know, Sam Bankman-Fried, he absconds with the funds. He goes to the polycule. He donates to some politicians. Well, now all of a sudden, years later, you get some funds back. A lot of these people are just going to want to get their Bitcoin back, get their Ethereum back. So I think of this $12 billion in cash, a significant portion is just going to be market buying crypto on exchanges. And this is going to be a massive, massive green day. And as Miles say, many of these recipients will likely re-enter the market, leading to a fresh bid. This is going to be a lot of fresh liquidity coming into the market. All right, let's go to number 6 here. We're over halfway. And let me just say this. Number 8 is the thing I'm most bullish on. You're definitely going to want to see number 8. Now, number 6, the global liquidity cycle. It's crazy how correlated crypto is to the global liquidity. Interestingly, we've been closely following a 65-month cycle. This is going to suggest a late 2025 peak, which works perfectly with the 4-year cycle. We topped out December 2017, and then November 21, and then now maybe October 2025, and that fits perfectly with Q4 2025. I went and I actually looked at the global liquidity markets, a little bit of a larger picture here, and folks, yeah, it does look like we are now on the upswing, going to give us a pretty bullish year next year, towards the later half. All right, number 7, we're almost at the good one, which is number 8. Number 7, spot ETH ETFs are going live. Looks like they're imminent and a major catalyst for the crypto market. It's going to lead further credibility to its standing as a legitimate asset class. So all the money flowed into ETFs for Bitcoin. Some percentage of that is going to be flowing into Ethereum as well. So for every $10 billion coming into Bitcoin, I would say maybe about 2 or 3 are going to flow to Ethereum, also going to be bullish for the markets. And then not only that, people are going to be looking, what is the next altcoin to get an ETF, which is then going to lead to even higher prices for those coins as well. Remember, this is the first altcoin to get an ETF. All right, number 8, and I said this is the one I'm most bullish on. That's because it's Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is launching 3 tokenization projects. If you thought tokenization was a fad, you need to think again. The institutions are here, and fundamentally, this lends significant credibility to the space. Well, do a little bit of a deeper dive on the Goldman Sachs thing. They're launching 3 new tokenization products this year. So they're planning later this year in the US and Europe. Following a major uptick in interest from clients in crypto, Goldman Sachs plans to create marketplaces for RWAs and would focus on the fund complex in the US and European debt markets. The fund complex in the US and European debt markets, that's the massive liquidity. That's not the millions, not the billions. Now we're talking about potential trillions on the sidelines. Who is Goldman Sachs' global head of digital asset? McDermott reportedly attributed the renewed momentum in crypto to the ongoing proliferation of ETFs for digital assets. This is what we were just talking about with the ETH ETF. This is going to lead to more dominoes falling. Funds that specialize in real-world assets are gaining traction in the U.S. This is particularly true to funds that deal with tokenized money market instruments, such as BlackRock's USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund. This is the BIDL fund. They just hit $500 million in assets under management earlier this week. We've been talking about that in the morning streams on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got on notifications because we are covering this fund, and we've been tracking it from the early infancy. And then we saw it cross 500 million. We brought you that news, folks. Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, this is massive. There's going to be a lot more money coming into the market. So this is actually maybe one of the more bullish scenarios here. Number 9 is going to be rate cuts. Macro can either be a headwind or tailwind, but if it moves in the right direction, it can aid all the aforementioned factors. The market is currently pricing the possibility of 3 rate cuts this year with a 90% probability of a 25 cut in September. Well, looking at Polymarket, not quite. 90% chance, actually 92% chance we get at least 1 rate cut. You can see only 8% of people are saying we're not getting any rate cuts this year. And you can see a tie for 2 rate cuts and 3 rate cuts. So looking well that we are definitely going to get rate cuts this year. We get some rate cuts, expect markets to pump. Bitcoin's going to pump off of that. All right, number 10. And here we go to the end of the list. And then we're about to dive into the charts. And I'm going to tell you the path to 100K. Markets are forward looking over the coming months. You're likely to see the market price in the tailwinds as crypto is highly reflexive. Positive bid off the back of increased sentiment can, in and of itself, lead to a major rally. So just a sentiment shift is enough for crypto, and I'm definitely sensing the sentiment shift right now. All right, now let's spell out the scenario for 100K. There's something I wanted to point out, and it was something we talked about, and that's the bullish divergence on the daily chart here. You can see it's largely flat right there. If we go to the 12-hour, it really steps up in a major way. All right, so here you can see we have some hidden bullish divergence. You see the price is just heading down, getting beaten down, but the RSI is relatively flat. So it's not really so much moving up, but as price heading down, RSI did not move down. So, slight bullish divergence. Well, last time we got some slight bullish divergence. It's a little bit different. Now we have the price barely moving down, but RSI rocketing up. So, we get definitely a divergence here. We got a pump in Bitcoin. And so we're seeing the same divergences that we're seeing back in August, September of last year. So, what kind of move did we get from this, and what kind of move can we expect maybe from the bottoms when we hit about $53,000? Let's go ahead and measure this. So we're going to go ahead and catch the bottom of the bid right there, and all the way up here, you see about a 95% pump. Bitcoin went from about $25,000 all the way to about $50,000, just a hair under. Well, what does a 95% pump look like from this area right here? So we got to go ahead and shrink the y-axis just a little, and it's important to know there's also amount of days that we're worried about here. This was 123 days, so you're looking right at 4 months. So a 95% pump over 4 months, and this is what we're looking at, folks. I hope you are sitting down, and while you're sitting down, I hope you hit that like button, everybody. Over 123 days with the 95% pump, everybody, we're looking at a $105,000 Bitcoin. So this is the path to $105,000. I know a lot of people are bullish, but a lot of people aren't bullish enough. And that's going to give us a target for November of this year. And that's what a lot of people are predicting, that Bitcoin is going to go into November, maybe even early December, potentially hit above 100K, pull back down, and end the year in the 80s. This would be the perfect scenario for that to play out. So do not get shaken out of your Bitcoin bags. I hope you bought the dip. We're telling you to buy the dip. We're long in the dip. And right now, even though we're pumping, it might not be time to just take all your profits. It might be time to just hold on, stay calm, and just ride the storm, because it might be a wild 123 days. And I'll see you and your Bitcoin at the top.